Good evening and welcome to our Smyrna Town Council meeting for November. Before I call our meeting to order, we do have citizens' comments tonight. Joseph Cascia, if you are here, if you'll come forward and at the mic, and if you will state your address, and you'll have 3 minutes to address us.
Great. Are we there?
Yes.
I got a notice that I needed to move my shed because it was property line problems. And I was just wondering if maybe we could get a little waiver on that, because to tell you the truth, that little guy is in such a perfect spot in my house. It's a good 20 feet away from my neighbor's house. I got pictures of it if you'd like to see them, but it's just as far as my property is concerned, that is really just the best place in the world for that guy. And I would just appreciate not having to move it.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, what now?
We will, Brian, actually what I did was since I saw that you were on the public comments, I asked staff to review it, and we actually have photos each one of us have photos on our desk.
Okay.
So,
Well, that was a waste of $2.53.
sorry about that.
That's okay.
So thank you so much, Brian.
Mayor, it clearly is outside the parameters of the ordinance as far as the setbacks. We do have a process that you're welcome to come through, and that's our BZA. So if you'd like to make an application to the BZA and come in and ask for a variance, that's the process that you would need to follow.
Oh, how do I do that?
We get with you, if you give Kevin Rigsby a call in the morning, he can walk you through that process, and you can make an application to the BZA.
Oh, fantastic. Stage 2, I like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will call our meeting to order, and tonight, Police Chief Kevin Arnold is going to be doing our prayer, and our pledge tonight is going to be done by Mason Swift, who's a third grader at Rocky Fork Elementary. So if you will stand with us, please.
Everyone would please join me in prayer. Father in heaven, we'd like to take the opportunity to thank you for the continued blessings that you continue to bestow upon this community. We ask that you watch over our community and keep our community safe. Father, please be with those who are dealing with loss. Give them comfort. Please be with those who are dealing with illness and give them strength. Please forgive us of our sins, and we say all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. So we have a certificate for you tonight for presenting our pledge. We appreciate it, but I hear that you attend quite a few meetings. Is that right? That's,
Actually comes here for a beer board.
so your mom comes here for beer board, and you get to tag along. Is that right? So she's not coming just because she wants to hear the beer board. She's actually on the beer board, and I think she chairs the beer board. Is that right? Yes, good. Okay, so let me present you with this, and if you'll turn this way, Chief's going to get our picture. Come right here. We're going to get a quick picture. Okay, Mason, so tell us where you go to school
I go to school at Rocky Fork Elementary,
and what grade.
3rd grade.
Third grade, and do we want to shout out to your teacher?
Yes, Tiffany Stout. She is one of the best 3rd grade teachers.
Very good. Well, we like to hear that, and we just want to say thank you, one, for coming and leading the pledge, but also thank you for coming to all of the beer board meetings. We really appreciate that. So we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks, Mason.
When he gets old enough, we can put him on the board. We'll have a lot of experience.
I think Mason just got an A.
I agree. I think Mason may be taking one of our jobs one day. Okay, Miss Diane, if you would do roll call.
Councilman Cole.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Morrell.
Present.
Councilwoman Peoples.
Here.
Councilman Short.
Here.
Councilman Sullivan.
Here.
Vice Mayor Atkins.
Here.
Mayor Reed.
Here. Okay, we will move on to item 3, which is approval or corrections of the minutes of the October 12th, 2021 and October 28th, 2021 meetings. Jeff, are these in order?
Order is to form, Mayor.
Okay, they are in order, so any additions or corrections, council? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move we approve the minutes.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes pass. We'll now move on to correspondence and communications. Anything tonight, Brian?
No, Mayor.
Okay, we'll move on to item 5, which is awards and recognition. Tonight, we have 2 items under awards and recognitions. Our first one is Thurman Francis Arts Academy. Miss Diane?
Whereas Thurman Francis Arts Academy is a full magnet school serving grades K through 8 within the Rutherford County School System and the town of Smyrna. And whereas Thurman Francis Arts Academy is ranked among the top 3 middle schools in the state of Tennessee according to the first ever Best K through 8 Schools rankings of public, elementary, and middle schools by U.S. News and World Report. And whereas Thurman Francis Arts Academy exceeded the annual measurable objectives for student achievement and attendance this year, scored a perfect 5 for student growth, and has been designated a Tennessee Reward School for the 2020-2021 school year. And whereas the mission of Rutherford County Schools to empower today's students to grasp tomorrow's opportunities is embedded by Thurman Francis Arts Academy. Now, therefore, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the town of Smyrna, I do hereby recognize Principal Jeff McCann, the faculty, staff, students, and families of Thurman Francis Arts Academy for their dedication and achievement. I wish them continued success in their pursuit of excellence. Proclaimed this 9th day of November, 2021.
Thanks, Miss Diane. If you all would come forward that are here to represent Thurman Francis Arts Academy. How are you? Great. To it, I'll let y'all get on both sides. That way we can make sure to get everybody on camera. And I will present this. We'll let Chief Bill get the picture. So we just want to say, one, how proud we are of each one of you and how much we appreciate the job you all do. We know how tough it is for you all right now and everything you all have had to deal with over the last couple of years. There's no way we can say thank you enough. We know you all represent the town of Smyrna and you represent the people of our community, and we just appreciate each one of you so much. I'm going to let each one of you tell us who you are and what you do at the school. And I hope you all know how Mason said he feels about his teacher. You all make an impact every day on kids' lives. And so many of them see you more than they do that person at their house. So thank you for all you do. So I'm going to let you introduce yourselves.
I'm Emily Colon. I'm the president of the PTO, and we have an amazing group of parents and families at our school.
My name is Danielle Fuller. I'm an instructional coach there at Thurman Francis.
And I'm Jeff McCann. I'm the principal at Thurman Francis. This is my 6th year here, and I just want to say that we have a large group here because it's a total team effort for our success. Our parents, especially our students, Mr. Cullen is going to talk to you here in a second, and our teachers, our instructional staff. It's a total team effort, but quite honestly, it's what we expect every day. We expect excellence at our school, so and we're just blessed to have such a great team to achieve that. So we're very humbled and honored by this. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Hi, I am Dr. Krista Hoekstra, and I'm the assistant principal at Thurman Francis Arts Academy.
My name is Stephanie Smith, and I am also the instructional coach at Thurman Francis.
My name is Cullen Throws, and I'm the student council president at Thurman Francis Arts Academy.
Great. Now, did you have to run for student council president? Did you have to make a speech and all that? Very good. Very good. So, did all of us attend Thurman Francis? Yep. Steve, I think that's where we met. So every one of us attended Thurman Francis. Now, it was not an arts academy there because I'm not sure that we could have made it had. So we all appreciate Thurman Francis. It was Thurman Francis Junior High School. We were the Rams at that time. So, but thank you again, and thank you all for being here tonight. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Steve, didn't you come to Thurman Francis?
Ninth grade year.
Ninth grade year. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that's where we met.
Yeah, the very, I guess 2 years later, ninth grade moved to the high school, so.
That's right.
I was one of the last ninth grade years there.
That's right. Okay.
Heather, Mary Esther, my daughter Heather went to Thurman Francis, and her daughter, Mary Holland, goes to Thurman Francis now.
There you go.
We're
3 generations.
multi-generational
There you
there.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's where my mom actually started teaching, was at Thurman Francis, so goes a long way back. Okay, so now we have a presentation of a donation by the Smyrna Rotary Club of the all-inclusive playground. Are we,
Bring council down to.
yeah,
accept.
but is somebody going to speak on their behalf?
Yes,
I didn't
Robert.
ask. Okay, Robert, there you go. Come on up. Sure, absolutely. Y'all want to come down?
Thank you, Mayor. Smyrna Rotary and the town of Smyrna partnered together to build the Freedom Playground at Lee Victory Park. Phase 1 of that was completed earlier this year. It's been a very popular thing. Our club was very honored to be part of this great project to expand opportunities for people in our communities that have disabilities. Tonight, we're honored to give $100,000 more to go toward the ADA-compliant restroom facility next to the playground. And this completes Smyrna Rotary's obligation toward this great project. So we are very honored and very appreciative to be a part of this, and we are presenting you today with $100,000 toward the project.
Closer. Yeah. Get behind. Oh, right there's perfect. Perfect? Yep, perfect. Oh, jeez, that's sorry.
So we just want to say thank you to each one of you. We can't tell you how much we appreciate. You all are always willing to step up and give back to the community, and whether it's to other nonprofits or the town of Smyrna. And I don't know if you've gotten to go over to visit the all-inclusive playground, but to see those kids out there playing and interacting with each other. You know, sometimes I think with kids, if we just let them go and let them be. They figure out how to work things out. They figure out how to make it. I think as adults, we probably need to take some lessons in that. But you all stepped up. You all made this happen. And between the partnership with all of us, I think we've done something pretty special. And you all continue to add to the community, and we just appreciate that. I'm going to let you each introduce yourself, and if you want to tell us either what you do or how long you've been with Rotary or anything, you're welcome to do that.
My name is Jason Surratt. I've been with the Smyrna Rotary Club since 2006, and I am the president-elect for this year, so I'll be president next year.
My name is Carolyn Peebles, and I've been with Smyrna Rotary since 2010. I currently serve as the club administrative assistant, and I'm also very active in the Wings of Freedom Fish Fry itself.
My name's Eric Brown. I currently serve as the club secretary. I've been in the club since 2008, so a pretty good little while. And I'm proud to be, we can make a pretty good team. We really do.
I would agree.
And then I'm Robert Stevens. I am the Rotary Club president this year, and I have been in it since 2010. It's been a great organization. I feel like we've been able to do a lot of good things for the town and for our Rutherford County community as well. So again, we appreciate your support.
Great. And I'm going to let those that are in Rotary that are on council tell us how long you've been.
I'm Brian Hercules, town manager, and I've been in Rotary now in Smyrna for about 3 years, and they found a few things for me to do. I can cook a little fish, I think.
Tim Morrell, been in Rotary since 2003.
Jerry Short, and I've been in Rotary for 3 years now.
H.G. Cole. I've been in Rotary since 93, although my daddy was a charter member of the Smyrna Rotary Club. And I also want to say that we really lose sight sometimes of how many different projects the Rotary Club does within our community. Just in the park system alone. Of course, we got the Rotary Soccer Park, but I think that the playground in Lee Victory Park has been renovated at least twice, plus the new playground, the pavilion which they originally put up there, and of course then it has been replaced also. So, I mean, Rotary plays a big part in our community, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Great. Thank you all so much. We've got to get back to work.
Must be my parole officer. Trying to find me.
Okay. Lots of exciting things going on here in the town of Smyrna, and I hope you can see what great partnerships we have, whether it's with the schools or if it's with Rotary Club or nonprofits that help to make our community what it is. So we're now ready to move on to our consent agenda. These are items that are determined by the town manager to be routine and not necessarily needing individual discussion. I do like to read the items so that you know exactly what we're voting on. And if there's an item that council would like to pull off and vote on or talk about individually, we can do that. We've got quite a few tonight. Our first one is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract relative to the banking services with First Horizon Bank. Item B, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Paul Corporation relative to the water treatment plant microfiltration maintenance. Item C, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a renewal contract with MR Systems Incorporated relative to the water treatment plant software and hardware maintenance and repair. Approval of the item D, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with bid documents for Incenegard Construction Group LLC relative to the water line replacement along the east side of North Lowry from Sam Hager Street to Jackson Street. Item E, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an engineering services agreement with Thomas & Hutton relative to the rehabilitation of the Rock Springs Road elevated water storage tank. Item F, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with United Systems relative to the support of the AMI metering software and equipment. Item G, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Motorola Solutions relative to the police department radio maintenance. Item H, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a renewal contract with Presidio relative to the service of the SmartNet and license for Cisco phone system and Cisco voicemail system. Item I, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Tennessee Rehabilitation Center relative to the recreation field area used by the Parks and Recreation Department. Item J, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with Site Engineering Consultants Incorporated relative to the design of the Rocky Fork Amaville Road widening project. Item K, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract addendum to the striping contract with Kerr Brothers to include spray thermoplastic striping for 4-inch and 6-inch wide white edge marking and 4-inch and 6-inch wide yellow centerline marking for the pavement markings. Council, is there anything you'd like to ask questions on or want to pull off and vote on separately? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda passes. We'll now move on to old business. Tonight, we have 6 public hearings. Our first public hearing is a consideration of an ordinance relative to the rezoning of property located on tax map 28, part of parcel 44.00, to go from R6 to PRD. It is requested by Alyssa Sieben. The property requested to be rezoned contains 39.1 acres and is located on Sam Ridley Parkway West and Motlow College Boulevard. This is a second reading. Kevin?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is a rezoning request. It is located on Sam Ridley Parkway West and Motlow College Boulevard. It also has frontage on 2 streets that are currently under construction, Jackdaw Drive and Jeannie Lane. The land use plan would support an office retail multifamily mix in this area. Surrounding zoning is R6 and C2. This proposed PRD is for development with 462 residential units. These will be broken down into 350 apartments, 46 duplex units in 23 buildings, and then 66 single-family houses. Access would be from Motlow College Boulevard, Jeannie Lane, and Jackdaw Court. The density with this number of units will be 11.8 per acre. All of these units would be for rent. And just for comparison purposes, the current zoning of R6 would allow up to 567 units, so it is a slight reduction in density. A traffic study was submitted comparing the proposed development plan with the study that was done originally for the previous approved plan for Ravens Point. And this study shows that the traffic generated by this development would actually be less than the previous plan, so there would not be any additional improvements with this development other than what was already required as a part of the Ravens Point development. I did attach the development plan, which has the layout, utilities, and all that with it. The Planning Commission did review this. I did recommend approval, and there are no changes on this since you looked at it on first reading.
Questions for Kevin on this? I know it's been a little while since first reading with them choosing to delay, but I just want the public to understand this was zoned R6, so which is for apartments. So
Since the 90s.
that-
Way
I
long
don't,
ago.
Kevin, how long's that? I mean, it's been, I don't know when it was.
My entire time here, it's been
Yeah,
zoned this way.
so,
Yeah, this is one of those piece of properties that anytime any other rezonings for R6 come along, we all kind of have in the back of our head that we already have R6 approved out there that will develop someday. And so for many years, this is one of those piece of properties that we knew would develop someday and probably be R6 because that's what it was zoned, and now it's actually here.
right. So, okay. Any questions or comments for Kevin? Seeing none, we'll go to the public to see if there's anyone here to speak for or against this item. If you'll come forward and state your name and your address, please.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Dan Eppright, 114 Seward Street. More of a question, and I'll make it rhetorical because it's not a back and forth here. Right next to Motlow, I am wondering if the apartments are priced so that that are accessible to Motlow students. And if the developer was here, I'd probably direct the question to him or her. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak for or against this item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and go to council for a motion.
I'll move to approve to get on the floor.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
Well, you brought up a really good point, Mayor, and so did Steve. Kevin pointed out this is 11.8 units per acre, which is smaller density actually than what R6 permits. R6 would permit a 14.5 units per acre. Steve was right to point out that this was already zoned back in the 90s for this, and we have no ability to change zoning. It's requested by the landowner. And unless the landowner decided to make this zoning change, we kind of have to live with the product. So we're doing our very best to keep the product a little less dense and with proper design review.
And I don't want to give anybody the impression that we think this is a bad product. We just have gotten beat up pretty good about density and about apartments and about townhouses recently, and I just want to make sure that the public understands where we're coming from.
Well, in line with what Mr. Epwright was asking, that was one of the questions that I did want to ask. If at the time I had asked it when they previously came, if there were any price points that had been discussed, and at the time they had said no. But it's been about 2 more months now, so I didn't know if someone could speak on that as to whether or not they have discussed what price points are going to look like on these.
Kevin, is
on
there
these
a
rentals.
representative here from the group?
Yes.
Hey, if you'll state your name and if you'll also give your address just for the record.
Sure. Alyssa Sieben, 5231 South Jules Verne Court, Tampa, Florida, 33611. Hi, I appreciate you guys asking the question. Last time, we don't have specific prices at this point, just because it does depend largely on the market and when we, get closer to defining our square footages for the units. But they will be somewhat luxury apartments. They're not specifically designed for student housing, if that does help at all.
Other questions?
Yeah, this is only one parcel of a larger part. Were y'all involved in doing anything with the other? Do you have any ideas of where that may go?
We have not been directly involved. I believe that some other portion of the acreage is going to be dedicated for commercial. I think there might be another rental portion upcoming, albeit I think townhomes maybe at some point. I'm not intimately familiar, so don't quote me on it. Those are just some of the things that I've heard.
Yeah. Well, it's just, we got a drawing on it quite a while ago, and it showed commercial in this particular parcel.
Oh, I see.
And then, of course, some of the other, I guess in answer to Dan's question, it showed student housing on the design. And I didn't know if you had any.
I don't know if student housing is still planned to go in at any point or on any portion of the parcel. I do believe that commercial is intended for the Jackdaw and Huggin Lane area.
Other questions? Where all does your company have layouts like this?
So this specific concept with the single family for rent is sort of a newer concept. It's come about from, because of COVID and people wanting to move, further out of the dense downtown areas and wanting to have some more land, but still be able to rent and not have all the added expenses of owning a home. So this will be one of our first developments like this. We have another one in Tampa that we're trying to get rezoned at this present moment in time, but the municipality there seems very supportive of the concept of integrating housing types.
And can you talk a little bit about your HOA and all that?
Do you mean the management
The
company?
management company, yes.
So we do not self-manage our properties. We will have a third-party management company, usually national, come in and sort of head that up.
Okay. Other questions?
Just want to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, because I've realized that at one point we had gotten a layout with the commercial that was on the front, and now that's scheduled, or it's looking like it's going to be a part of the other development. So I realized that this was zone R6 already, and that they could go ahead and build apartments. But the other, I guess, the point for me is that that was one concept that was presented, and I actually like that concept better than this just being all a rental area. But if there is going to be a consideration for commercial somewhere else, I mean, I'm happy for that. I would have liked to have seen it here, though, on the front of by Sam Ridley as well. So,
Other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion and a, thank you so much for answering the questions. We have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
aye.
Ms. Diane, you good? Okay, motion passes. All right, our next public hearing is a consideration of an ordinance relative to the rezoning of property located on tax map 27, part of parcel 6.00, to go from R1 to C2, requested by Matt Taylor on behalf of the Sam Davis Memorial Association. The property requested to be rezoned contains approximately 4.02 acres and is located at the corner of Nissan Drive and Sam Davis Road, and this is a second reading. Kevin?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is at the corner, northwest corner of Sam Davis Road and Nissan Drive. Land use plan will support a mix of open space as well as office, retail, multifamily in this area. Surrounding zoning is a mix of C2 and R1. The Planning Commission did review this and did recommend approval. Again, nothing has changed on this since you look at it on first reading. I would also recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this? Tim or Mark, anything you want to add before we move to public hearing?
Other than the zoning is appropriate as far as what's surrounding there, particularly at that intersection, no.
Okay. Council, any comments or questions?
I think we had asked before, which I'm just really restating, not re-asking, but at this time, it's just a zoning request. There's no buyer or developer that's submitted anything at this point, so.
We haven't received anything other than this request.
I had a couple of questions after our last meeting from some friends asking, what's going to go there. We don't know. Something commercial. That's all we can tell you.
Yeah.
Well, and talking to Mr. Harney, who's here, when they presented this to us originally, one of the things that they're going to be cognizant of is that they really want to have a fix, a good mix right there. It's not like they just want it to be anything commercial. So I think they're going to be sensitive because of the corner that it's on. They're trying to raise money to continue to keep the Sam Davis home operating and functional and safe. So that's the purpose behind it.
Yeah, and I think even to Tim's point, there's C2 all around it.
Proper zoning.
Yeah, it's proper placement.
Except that you're slicing a piece of one of the largest natural areas of our town. It's kind of like I would like to say that it's a long-term solution to a short-term problem, but the problem's been ongoing for a long time, so it's probably the inevitable. I don't have to like it.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, I think we all agreed at the last meeting that we may not like it, but we understand that they're in the situation they're in, and this is what they've come up with, and they've gotten approval to do this. So, other questions or comments before we move to the public hearing? Okay. We will open this up to the public to speak for or against this item. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing and go to council for a motion.
I'll move we approve.
A motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to our third public hearing, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the rezoning of property located on tax map 19, parcel 12.02, to go from R1 to PRD. It's requested by Randy Sexton. The property requested to be rezoned contains approximately 6.5 acres and is located on Sharp Springs Road, and this is a second reading. Kevin?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this request is on Sharp Springs Road. It's about 300 feet north of the intersection with West Jefferson Pike. The land use plan would support low-density residential in this area. Surrounding zoning is a mix of R1 and R2. This proposed PRD is for 27 single-family houses. Access would be at one point from Sharp Springs Road. The minimum square footage of the houses would be 1,800 square feet. The overall density is about 4.15 units per acre. The roads within this development would be private, but still built to the town street standards. The houses would not be built on individual lots, but sold through a horizontal property regime, with all the property owned and maintained by a third-party managed HOA. As a part of this development, the developer would be dedicating right-of-way and widening Sharp Springs Road in front of his property. And in addition, the sidewalk within this development would be extended along Sharp Springs Road South, to eventually be extended to connect to the sidewalk TDOT will be installing along West Jefferson Pike as a part of the widening project. A pedestrian connection is also shown to the trail within Sharp Springs Park, which would be to the west side of the property. Sewer may gravity to the site, but if not, the developer would be required to upsize the existing lift station that is near the northwestern corner of the property to provide adequate capacity. Again, I did attach the pattern book that was submitted. The Planning Commission did review this, did recommend approval. I would also recommend approval. And again, there's not been any changes since you saw this on first reading.
We had quite a bit of discussion on this, seeing that it's something new to the town. Are there any questions of Kevin before we move to the public hearing? Seeing none, I will go to the public to see if there's anyone here to speak for or against this item. Hi, if you will come forward and if you'll state your name and your address for the
Savannah
record.
Harvey, 280 Sharp Springs Road. We just own that area. We don't live there.
Okay.
Amy Dearman, 280 Sharp Springs Road. Again, we've just purchased that.
Ivy Williams, 280 Sharp Springs Road.
Okay.
We had some questions about this. Just some of the questions that we own property on that road, and that's a whole lot of houses in a little bitty spot. So our question is, he just said the houses are going to be like 1,800 square feet. What's the price range of these houses? Are these going to be $100,000 homes? Okay, that's a joke. $200,000 homes?
That's probably a joke too, to be honest with you.
So does that mean on our property, we can't build $2 million homes? Because we're right here with this real condensed area? That's a concern. Also, we want to know when they're breaking ground and how long it's going to take. We realize the whole Jefferson Pike issue. We know that. It's just kind of a time frame. I personally was under the understanding that this section of land was going to be landlocked when Jefferson Pike was finished. It's not. They're moving Sharp Springs Road. Will there be a red light at the end on Jefferson Pike? We all know how dangerous it is out through there if you drive that area. Will there be a red light? 26 homes? Another concern I have is this not in or near a flood zone? If you've driven Jefferson Pike many times, that road drops off, that floods. They're going to have to build that land up to make this a 5-lane road out through there. This backs up to the park floods. We all know that. What school will these be zoned for? I know right now the area is John Coleman. I don't know where the middle school is, and then probably Smyrna High School. 26 homes. Smyrna's growing like crazy. At some point, if they do an expansion of the water plant, where's that going? This is 26 or 6.5 acres right there adjacent to the water plant. just a thought. We were wondering who the builder would be and who the real estate agent would be. It's a new construction. All right, and the price of the homes and the size of the homes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
I think it was on my notes.
Okay, thank you.
Just some concerns that we have. We own property on that road, and it is a concern.
Right.
Thank you, council.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here who'd like to speak for or against this item? If you will state your name and address for the record, please.
My name's Randy Sexton. I'm the land manager for Landmark Homes. My address is 1436 Bradbury Drive, Murfreesboro, 37130. Answers to the questions that were presented. We are the owner, or will be the owner, will be the builder. We've been here in Tennessee for over 30 years, and this is going to be a community where we will have homes that start in the $500,000 price point. The minimum size could be 1,800 square feet if our buyers choose not to finish the upstairs portion of the home. These homes will be, again, a minimum of 1,800 all the way up to 3,600 square feet. As far as starting, we look to start in either March or April, depending on time frame for getting our construction drawings approved. We anticipate it'll take 6 to 8 months to build these homes. And again, we will be the only builder, and we do our own in-house sales and marketing. So,
Great.
pleased to answer any other questions that you or the public may have.
Other questions for Mr. Sexton?
If you could address the other questions that she asked regarding the water drainage, and also, I think I can address, maybe perhaps, Brian, you might help with signalization. That is a state road, and we have
Correct.
we don't have the capacity to say we want a signal there. That's a state decision, so.
Due to the fact that we are only building 27 units, it was not required to do a traffic study, because again, there's just not enough traffic there to impact what's already coming along 266. So as far as schools go, our buyers are going to be move up and move down buyers. We commonly refer to them as empty nesters, people that are selling larger homes and moving to a home like this where they will actually be maintenance free. We'll actually maintain all the common area. The only thing that the people will actually own is the actual house. We own all the common area, and we as the builder, developer, will maintain that. And then once we turn it over to the HOA, it'll be a property management company that will look after that, so.
Other questions for Mr. Sexton? After the meeting or somehow, can you maybe get with them just to answer if they have any other questions?
Absolutely.
That sure would be.
Yes, ma'am. And
that
I'll
would be
give them a
helpful.
card so free to.
Perfect.
And
That'd be
our
great.
engineers here tonight will actually make sure they have his information. And if they would like, we'll give them one of our presentation packages that we gave you all.
That'd be great. Thank
Okay?
you.
Thank you.
Mayor, could I?
Absolutely.
Talking about the signalization, and Mark, I think you're absolutely right. You know, TDOT has taken under their purview the Jefferson Pike project, widening that to a 4-lane from the interstate to Nissan Drive, but that is a state route. I personally live, I can throw a rock and hit this property, and my wife and I talk about it on a regular basis, you know, the amount of traffic out there, and then when it's 4-laned, but unfortunately, it is a TDOT decision whether or not a signal goes at Sharp Springs or one down at Jefferson Pike.
Just so you know.
Just so you know.
And, you know, I know Mark lives out there, Jerry lives out there. We're all very, we understand the traffic issues, and trust me, from a town's perspective, we're working with TDOT. We're asking for more. At this point in that road widening, though, the only red light that will be added, there's the red lights at the bridge at 840, and then one at Hickory Grove will be added at this time. We'll continue to ask for more. But that's a TDOT decision. That's got nothing to do with the development and/or, you know, the town being able to influence that.
We actually had that discussion, Brian and I, earlier about signalization there at Old Jefferson and Jefferson Pike, because we know how hard it is to get in and out of there right now. When it improves to 4, say 5 lanes with that median, little concern, people be cutting across into the island or the median area to go into town. But even though that's a concern of ours, that's the state's decision. We don't get to make the decision on where signals go. So we will always lobby for it. I can promise you that.
Other questions for
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Go ahead.
One of the other things I'd like to add is, it wasn't asked, but the construction of our homes, it'll either be hardy, stone, or brick, or a combination of all three. So again, there's no vinyl other than under your soffit, but other than that, it's all hardy, brick, or stone, and mixed.
And gated.
Yes, and this is a gated community, which, thank you, Mark, for pointing that out, which is very unique to Smyrna, and we've talked about how that will work. We'll actually have the gate set up so that if emergency services need us to get in there and the gate is closed at night, their signal will actually open the gate. And the gate is designed, we have pins so that the gate can actually be pushed open and broken if it needs to. The pins cost about $15, $20 a piece, so we'd rather replace those than replace the gate. So, but it is available for emergency services. They do have that authority to push the gate open if need be. So, but they have, it's called a Yelp system where their decibels will actually activate the gate and open it. So, yep.
Great.
Okay.
Other questions for Mr. Sexton?
Just maybe to comment, because I noticed it was in the pattern book and what we have tonight, and it was a concern, and we hear this quite a bit in planning, and that's stormwater and drainage and whatnot. This property will be engineered so it does not disperse any additional water than what is currently dispersed. And oftentimes what we find is it actually disperses less water as far as that. So this will be thoroughly engineered from a stormwater perspective. It'll be reviewed and approved by the town. And so I don't see that particularly as an issue.
No, we actually have 2 detention ponds on the property to catch any and all runoff, to keep it on site so it actually percolates on site.
Great. Other questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak for or against this item?
Just could you answer the question about the expansion of the water plant?
There's,
At this point, we're very, we've just had a recent update of the water plant. Mike, he walked out 5 years ago. And, at this point, we do not see an expansion needed based on our capacity out there for the near future, so.
Well, just concerned, because we've already been approached by the city of Smyrna purchasing our land for the water plant. So that was where my concern was coming from there.
Yeah, Mike, if you'll touch on that.
Yeah, so we did take a look at the surrounding properties. At the plant itself, at some point in the future, not in the near future, we will need to expand the plant. Could we expand with the current property we have? Probably, but it'd be tight. So we were just exploring options to see if, I think we had been told that there was some property that may be available to purchase, so we dug into that.
great. Thanks, Mike. Anyone else here to speak for or against this item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and go to council for a motion.
I'll move we approve.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to our next public hearing, which is a consideration of an ordinance relative to the amendment of the approved PUD for property located on tax map 57A, Group A, parcel 24.01, requested by Clyde Roundtree on behalf of Ed Freeman. The property requested contains approximately 9.47 acres and is located at 5916 New Nashville Highway, and this is a second reading. Kevin?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is an existing PUD that was approved many years ago at 5916 New Nashville Highway, about a half mile or so northwest of the intersection with Florence Road. Land use plan would support commercial development here. Surrounding zoning is C2 in town and RM in Rutherford County. The existing approved PUD does allow for conventional self-storage and RV and boat storage. There's also was an existing house on the property that could remain. This proposed amendment is essentially to keep all that in place, but to add another building, which would be a 2-story, 9,500 square feet, climate-controlled facility. This property is not served by sanitary sewer, so prior to issuance of a building permit, the developer would have to provide verification from TDEC regarding that the existing system is adequate. He would also have to provide verification from CUD that the fire flow requirements can be met. I did it, again, did attach the pattern book. It was attached to the request. Planning Commission did recommend approval unanimously with one condition that to revise the exterior elevations to meet the requirements of design review. Again, nothing has changed on this since first reading, and staff would recommend approval with that condition as recommended by Planning Commission.
Questions for Kevin on this or comments? Seeing none, we'll go to the public to see if there's anyone here to speak for or against this item. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing and go to council for a motion.
Motion to approve.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now I'll go on to our next public hearing, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the rezoning of property located on tax map 50C, Group A, parcel 26.00 to go from R1 to PRD. It's requested by Clyde Roundtree on behalf of Scott Butler. The property requested to be rezoned contains 2.2 acres and is located on Terrytown Drive, and this is a second reading.
Yes,
Kevin?
Mayor and Council, this is on Terrytown Drive. It's about 700 feet west of the intersection with Valley Green Drive. Land use plan would support medium-density residential in this area. Surrounding zoning is R1. The requested PRD was for 5 single-family lots, utilizing a 60-foot lot width and 7.5-foot side setbacks. But as recommended by the Planning Commission, it would be for 4 single-family lots, utilizing a 75-foot lot width and 15-foot side setbacks. All other aspects of the original request would remain. The proposed minimum house size is 1,400 square feet. Front setbacks would be 35 feet with the double width driveways. And the common area would be owned by the HOA and managed by a third party. Again, I did attach the pattern book, including the one with the revisions for you all after the Planning Commission recommended the changes. Again, they did recommend approval of that amended PRD. 6-4-0 against, and staff would also recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this? Seeing none, we will go to the public to see if there's anyone here to speak for or against this item. Hi, if you will come forward and state your name and address.
I'm David Knight, and I actually live in the property that says R1 up there with the pool, which is adjacent to that. The issue I have, and I think you have discussed this a lot, is the drainage. And so that there's a building that's right there on the edge of the property. It drains through there, and it's a river when it rains. I've got film of it on just a small storm. And it's a river, and this floods all the way out to the church there on Almaville Road. Yeah, Life Point. So, and that's a big area. So anyway, it's a large amount of water. That's going to have to be dealt with. I, of course, don't want to lose that building or anything from that. There's also the issue with the land that's not really set to be developed. There's a big sinkhole. There's a cave at the bottom of that sinkhole. That cave actually comes out in the front of my property. And all the water that goes, can I go up there?
Sure.
And show? Okay. It starts about right here, and it goes, the cave system goes right through here and comes out right here. And there's 2 little sinkholes there, and this floods. And if that water's diverted to there or whatever, it's going to flood that, and it's going to go over Carter Lane, and it's going to probably damage my property. There's that. Other than that, I'm not really concerned about this. I think it's okay to do. I'm not opposed to it so much. I just don't want to have any damage to my property. And there's a wellhead on my property, and it's viable, and I could use it for irrigation, which I would be, I wouldn't be so happy if that went away. Supposedly that's good, and it would be good forever. If you change the water table somehow, that might go away. If the water table gets lowered, then that cave system risks collapse. So I don't want to lose part of my yard. So there's just concerns there, and I think that should be taken into consideration.
Great. Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Knight.
thanks.
Anyone else to speak for or against this item? If you'll come forward and state your name and address, please.
Suzanne Biggerstaff, 311 Eaton Road, Smyrna. I live on Eaton, which is road over. We're concerned about the 5 homes on that lot. It's going to have to be 0 lots, where you look out your window from your bathroom, wave at your neighbor. We're concerned about that. We are proud that we have a lot of land around our homes. That's one reason I moved out there. It is completely different than our neighborhood or the surrounding areas. So also concerned about the traffic. We've got gobs of traffic anyway. It's hard to get in and out, and it's just going to be a mess. So we are opposed to 5 houses. We're not opposed to 2, maybe 3, give them a decent-sized lot. And I'm hearing them say 4, but I still think that's a lot.
Okay.
It's just a concern of ours.
Thank you so much.
I'll agree with that.
Anyone else here to speak for or against? Hi. You'll come forward and state your name and address, please.
Franklin Wade Palmer, 828 Valley Drive. Thank you. I think what I was a little bit confused about was the drainage too, because when we looked it up, it said on both sides there was a flooding area. It is Mr. Butler's land, and he certainly can build on it as he needs to. Last time we started with 10, and your wisdom brought it down. Is it 4 or is it 5?
It's 4.
It's 4. Okay, thank you. I'm a little confused. Also, the last time you remember we were saying 55 plus. Is this still, okay, it's not 55 plus?
That went away. That was the previous request.
Okay.
To add some 55 plus into a higher density product. And we just felt like the density product was too dense for the application. So the Planning Commission recently had this brought to us again.
Yes, sir.
And we tried to find a happy medium with the neighborhood and the product. So we requested that one of these homes be removed from the request so that we could continue to have what was consistent in the neighborhood, minimum 15-foot side setbacks. And that was kind of the goal behind getting it to the point where if he's going to use his property and build on his property, which, you even said he has a right kind of to do that, but Tim alluded to the water issue, and Mr. Knight, I appreciate your question about water, and I thought it was kind of comical because you said, I don't want you to take too much of my water away, because I'm not having to pay for irrigation. That's really good. But drainage is part of that whole equation. It's got to be equated in. TDEC requires that of us. So.
Okay. We'll rely on your wisdom. Thank you.
Thank
I think
you.
we're going the right way, 10
Thank
to 5. So.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak for or against this item? Seeing no one, I will close this public hearing and go to, I'll go to council for a motion.
Planning looked at this and felt comfortable with it. I sit on planning, so I'm going to stick by that and make a motion to approve it.
A motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Kevin, talk a little bit, just so those that are here in the audience know what the process is in regards to drainage and what the requirements are for us as a town.
Yeah, there's a couple different aspects of drainage that we're responsible for. One is quantity of the water, and that they cannot increase the amount of water that would flow off of this site onto any neighbors to cause any flooding downstream, so to speak. The other part of that is the quality of the water, and they do have to they'll have to have some sort of filtration, which it could be just across the undeveloped land, or it could be some other way of doing that. And so all that is, they'll have to go to TDEC first to get the permit, and then they'll come to us with a notice of coverage and all that. And those plans would be reviewed by Public Works and our Stormwater Department. Before they could start grading or anything, they'd have to have all the erosion control up and all those things as well. So, that's not something that I'm so much involved with, but certainly I'm somewhat familiar with and know that the Public Works Department is the one that is really doing that review.
But it is possible that some of the problems that they're seeing from flooding may be improved because of
It could
what
be
we're having to
improved,
do.
certainly. I mean, it's certainly, the standard is they can't make it any worse.
Right.
But certainly it could be improved, depending on the design that the engineer designs for it, and then that Public Works reviews and approves.
Okay, other questions or comments for Steve? I mean, for, sorry, I was looking
I got a
at
new
you
name.
and thinking about Kevin.
I'll take your questions now.
So how
Your
does the
battery's low.
issue
You
of,
I turned it off.
yeah, so how does the issue of the caves and the sinkholes factor into determination of this flooding issue?
That's probably a little bit outside of my level of expertise. Certainly, I'm not a geologist or anything. I know that is something that that our stormwater department is very cognizant of and would take that into account when they review the plans. So.
In its present state, has it been engineered at all to prevent any additional runoff?
We have received, we did get the preliminary plat. I can't recall if we had all the full grading set of
No, I'm
grading
just talking
plans.
about even before the construction starts. As it, in its present state, just natural state, has there been any engineering of this that we're aware of?
I know that the original plat from 40-plus years ago had that area preserved as kind of a drainage area. And that was carried over to the new plat. Beyond that, I'm not aware of anything in its natural state, no.
And I remember from the planning conversation, which now seems like months ago, that's the reason they're staying off the back part of that property, right? Is that's kind of a detention area now.
Correct, and the HOA will be a third-party HOA brought in from Valley Green that then governs the upkeep of that common area in the back. So where that sinkhole is now, the HOA that'll be their job to maintain the upkeep of that area and so forth going forward. So at least I think there was a question, we had an email and there was a lady that spoke at the planning meeting, I believe it was, and that was one of her concerns. And I think we addressed that concern with her too, so. Mr. Knight, I've got just a question for you. It's just I'm interested. You mentioned that sinkhole kind of caves all the way over to Carter Lane. How large is it at Carter Lane? I mean, can you walk through that thing?
If you go into the back, it's not any bigger than this area here. It might be 15, 20 feet deep. And right at the bottom, there's a hole, and it looks like somebody at some point had constructed a little entrance, enough for a dog to get in. And the reason why I know it comes out in my front is because I met the lady that lived in my house in 1920. And they had a pet dog. And this dog went into the hole in that sinkhole and wouldn't come out, and they heard it barking, and they got it to come out in the front. And so it goes all the way through, for sure. And those holes have been there, I mean, that house has been there since 1790, before this was even a state. Yeah, the rest of the house was finished by 1840. One of those sinkholes, they had a separate kitchen burned down. They literally took the cast iron stove with porcelain on it and stuck it in that sinkhole. It's still there. I found it. So it's there. It's not going to go anywhere. That water's going to come out through there. You know.
I just thought it was interesting.
It is interesting.
The history of it, you know.
And to Raquel's question, there are other places across the town that we have sinkholes
Sure,
that, when we're
absolutely.
developing property, that have to be looked at and have to be dealt with too, so. Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there other questions or comments?
I guess just the only comment I've got is, when I look at it, it's consistent across the road. When you look at the the development beside it on the other side, to me, it doesn't look consistent. I know we talked about being consistent all the way through. I mean, with 4 houses, it would be better than the 5, but I have a little bit of an issue with just looking at it and trying to make it line up with everything else that's at least over to the left side of it.
Can you pull up the updated site plan?
Yeah.
Because it's,
Yeah, it's the house to the left side is the one that is going away, so to speak, or not, never being approved. So it would be the 4 houses, and the area where that 5th house is on the left is going to be the access to the common area in the back.
So the 4 are going to stay where they are.
Pretty much, yeah.
Jerry, look at, can you go to page 593 and what we have in our packet? Because I'm with you, it's kind of hard to imagine it until you get to that page.
Talking about the pattern book?
Yeah.
There it is, Steve. Steve's got it.
See how they,
Mm-hmm.
so we made them all a little wider, but the only open spot's now on the left side.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was looking at when I was looking at this, even back on planning. If you look at the lots across the street and the ones beside it, the width of those lots, and you look at the width of this piece of property, this property lines up pretty consistently with about 3.5 lots across the street. So a 4th house is half a lot larger maybe. So to me, it doesn't seem that much more dense than what's around it with 4 houses. And when it was 5, it looked like those lots were going to be a lot more narrower. But when in planning, when they came down to 4, I actually texted Tim or Mark one, I can't remember, and said that looks a lot better. You know, just kind of drawing that out, and it did fit better. And that's what I'm seeing when they were talking about consistency. I agree. The 2 lots on the left and the larger lot that Mr. Knight owns, you know, it doesn't look consistent with those lots, which are on the back side. But with that green space between all of them, it's a buffer. You'll never even see it.
30 foot between the homes.
Right, 30 feet between, right. 15-foot side setback, so there's still 30 feet between the homes. So to me, 4 made it much closer to consistency for that piece of property across the street, or the rest of the houses on Terrytown Drive.
Okay. Other questions or comments? We have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. At this time, we are not going to go to our public hearing on item F. We need to have discussion about our state revolving fund loan for the Sam Ridley Weekly Lane water line upgrade. And Mike, I'm going to let you take over.
Yes, so as you said, this is a public meeting for the SRF loan for Sam Ridley Weekly Lane water line extension. For SRF, we have to meet a lot of criteria. One of those would be the public meeting where the project is discussed, the user rates, estimated interest rate, cost of the project, timeline. So Nathaniel Green with James C. Haley did the design on this, and he is here to discuss that with you and answer any questions. And Mark Parker with Utilities is also here if you guys have any questions. So I'll turn it over to Nathaniel.
Thank you, Mike. Good evening, everybody. I'm Nathaniel Green with James C. Haley and Company. And as Mike said, one of the requirements of the SRF loan program is to provide a project description of our current project that we're working on Sam Ridley Parkway and Weekly Lane. This project consists of the installation of approximately 3,000 feet of 24-inch water line along Sam Ridley Parkway and the installation of approximately 3,100 linear feet of 12-inch water line along Weekly Lane. The proposed project shall include all necessary valves, fittings, service reconnections, fire hydrants, as well as any related appurtenance necessary for the proper installation of the water line. The total estimated project cost is $2.5 million. The anticipated interest rate from SRF is 1.29%, which includes an administration fee of 0.08%, and that comes with a 20-year term on the loan. User fees. Based on SRF's user fee review, the town's current rate structure is adequate to repay the loan. The project schedule that we anticipate at this time is approximately 12 months to complete the project. Pipe and component supplies are currently limited and lead times are increasing, but the anticipated schedule is to bid this project in the winter of 2021, award in winter/spring of 2022, and then complete the project within the time frame of winter to spring 2022/2023. Project impacts. The short-term impact of construction along Sam Ridley and Weekly Lane will require occasional traffic control and will involve increased noise, dust, and sediment pollution concerns. However, the contractor will be required to mitigate these adverse effects. The long-term benefits associated with this improvement includes providing additional water volume and pressure to areas within the water system that need it, removing a hydraulic choke point between the water treatment plant and the rest of the water system. Additionally, fire flows within the service area will increase. It is expected that the benefits associated with this project will adequately serve Smyrna for the next 20 years. So those are the requirements. We've met them. If there are any questions, I would be happy to answer.
Any questions for Mr. Green? I don't think so.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much.
I would like to take this opportunity, you're good, to introduce you all, if y'all don't know, Emily Kelly. Emily, will you stand up? We've worked with Emily for quite a while. Emily and I met when I first became mayor and knew nothing about state revolving fund, and she educated me really well on that, and we've worked quite a bit together, and I can't even tell you how much money that's been saved by the town, whether it's through the interest rates or the debt forgiveness. So we appreciate all you do to help the town of Smyrna. You sure have been a lifesaver, and we appreciate it. So,
Well, thank you.
you are welcome.
Y'all are a treat to work with.
Good. We like hearing that. I know you hate when Mike wears that tie, but, you know, we just have to put up with some things. There you go. Mike, anything else we need to do to check all the boxes?
No, ma'am, I think that.
Unless, is there anyone who would like to sign the sign-in sheet that has not? I've got
Can
a
we
sign-in
pass the
sheet.
sign-in sheet? So those in the audience, if you can sign the sign-in sheet, that would be beneficial to us, please. Okay, anything else with this, Mike? Nope. Okay, then we will move back into our meeting, and our last public hearing is a consideration of an ordinance amending ordinance 21-22, adopting the 2021-2022 fiscal year budget, specifically the fee schedule relative to the municipal code violation, and this is a second reading. Jeff?
Allow for the offense of failure to report an accident to be under the municipal code fee structure for $50.
Questions for Jeff on this? Seeing no questions, I'll go to the public to see if there's anyone here to speak for or against this item. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and go to council for a motion. Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We are done with our public hearings, and moving on to new business, our Planning Commission report. We only have 2 items tonight. The first one is consideration of an ordinance relative to the annexation R3 zoning of property located on tax map 54, parcel 8.05, requested by Sean Collins on behalf of the Joe and Jean Span Living Trust, containing 9 acres. The property requested is located at 9351 Rocky Fork, Amaville Road, and this is a first reading. Kevin?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this property is located at 9351 Rocky Fork, Amaville Road, directly across from the intersection with Kedron Church Road. The land use plan would support low-density residential west of Rocky Fork, Amaville, and with medium density across the street on the east side. Surrounding zoning is RM in Rutherford County. With this request, staff recommended the annexation of the existing right-of-way of Rocky Fork, Amaville Road from the current town limits to the northwesternmost corner of this tract, which is about 1,640 feet. The town would be providing all services to this property upon annexation except for water, which would be provided by CUD. Adequate fire flow does not exist at this time for this area, so any development of this tract would require a developer to work with CUD to attain the adequate fire flow. There is one existing single-family residence on this property. The Planning Commission did review this to recommend approval, and staff would also recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve? A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mayor, show me abstaining from the vote.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes with one abstention. I think everybody's battery's a little low tonight. Okay, item 2, consideration for a request for the abandonment and donation of a portion of an existing alley right-of-way north of Rake Street on tax map 27. Kevin?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is a request from Fran Dunn on behalf of the Senior Activity Center of Smyrna for the town to abandon a portion of an old alley right-of-way which lies between the main center building and the house at 204 Ridley Street. This was intended to be an alley but has never been improved. The center would like to obtain ownership of this area and re-subdivide the 2 parcels, including this strip. The total area within the right-of-way is approximately 1,383 square feet. I did attach the letter of request, the map, legal description, and as well as the proposed re-subdivision plat that they had submitted, incorporating this area into the 2 tracts that they own on either side of it, with the in your packet. The Planning Commission did review this, did recommend approval, and staff would also recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this?
Kevin, does that picture show that there's still additional alleyway above this?
That is correct. There is that existing alleyway. It goes, I don't think it goes all the way back to the other street. I think it just goes between the center and the 2 other tracks there. They don't own those 2. They were really focused on this piece because they do own the house. I think they were looking to sell the house, but they wanted to incorporate this property as well as some of the backyard of the adjacent house into the center property and then sell the house. I believe it's their plan.
Okay.
Other questions? Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item B, Package Liquor Board Report. There were no applications for the Town Council to consider at this time. Item C, consideration of an ordinance to amend ordinance number 20-12, adopting the 2020-2021 fiscal year budget relative to the general fund, state street aid fund, drug fund, stormwater fund, and capital projects fund, and this is the first reading. It's the birthday boy.
Why, hello.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
Did you have a big day?
Kind of uneventful, but, you know, to be 50 years old, it's not too bad.
There you go. There you go. Brian didn't work you too hard today?
No.
Good answer.
Must have worked him hard because he's not 50.
So you're saying he's a little delusional, is that what you're saying?
Maybe I need to add a number to that one. 27. Mayor and Council, these are the 2021 fiscal year and budget amendments. The Stormwater Fund had some streets that needed emergency repairs. You also notice that the premium pay amendments in the general and stormwater funds that was funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. There was also an amendment for the all-inclusive playground that was a joint project with the Smyrna Rotary Club, Christy Houston Foundation, and the town. We ask that you approve these amendments.
Questions for Rex on this? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Our last item of business is consideration of a resolution to set the dates and times for the 2022 council meetings and work sessions. It's hard to believe that we are already having to do that. Questions or comments or concerns about any of the dates? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I move we approve.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Anything else under other tonight, Brian?
Ma'am.
So we have someone that is in the audience tonight doing some videotaping, not our normal person. So would you mind coming up to and tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what you're doing?
Make sure you get on your own camera.
That's right. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Timothy Barrow. I go to MTSU, and I'm in the, my major is in journalism. So the reason why I'm here is because I have this project I'm doing. I have to do a VOSOT for school. So basically I work for like the MT News. So on Monday and Wednesdays I go in and like write the scripts for them, for the newscasters to pretty much just like read them off as they go off.
Cool. So this project, you'll take this and do what?
It's gonna air on the MT News. So I'm gonna, when I get to school tomorrow, I have to, in the morning, I'm gonna edit it out and like write the script for it.
Great. Well, we are glad that you chose us to come and film tonight. We appreciate you being here. I know that I graduated from MTSU, and I know it's a great program that you're in there. And I don't know if you deal at all with Andrew Ottman at all, but Brian and I both know Andrew and does a good job. So, but we just really appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, Miss Diane, anything?
I have nothing.
Nothing. Brian?
Mayor and Council, I do have a couple of things I'd like to share with you. The first one is a really nice letter that we received on our Utilities Department from a Connie Goddard to Deborah Walker, and she just wanted to praise Ms. Walker and Ms. Brooks for their help on some issues that was going on in her house. She came into the office, I take it, and she sent some of our crews out there, and they resolved the issues quickly. She said that a lot of times people are impatient with older people. That's getting more important to me. But we treated her very kindly, and she was very happy with our customer service. So congratulations to our represent the town.
Well, I don't think we're surprised by
Not
that,
a
but
bit.
it sure is nice to get kudos
Yep.
because people sure don't have trouble telling us when we've
When we
screwed
don't-
it up,
when we-
don't
when
they?
we-
So
we
we
don't do as well
appreciate, that's
sometimes.
right. So we appreciate those
A
kind of
couple other
words.
announcements that I'd like to make. I think they're going to come up on the board. The town's Veterans Day ceremony will be held this Thursday, November the 11th at 11 a.m. at the Captain Coos Memorial. We invite the community to come out and join us for this special ceremony. In the event there's rain, we will move it down to the town center, and we've made accommodations with the town center to be able to do it inside. We're hoping that we'll get past the rain because it's such a nice venue to be out there at the Coos Memorial and to recognize and honor our veterans. So please come out and join us. That's November 11th at 11 a.m. The 20th Annual Firefighters for Food event is this Saturday. And I will tell you, Mayor, we got our work cut out for us. They're already collecting at the schools, and I saw some
some
I saw
pictures.
some pictures and some numbers. If we're gonna compete with the firefighters, we're gonna have to step up our game. They're doing a great job, and, at the end of the day, the real winner is our community and the people that are in our community struggling with food issues. And Chief, I just want to say kudos to the firefighters, and this is 20 years that you guys have been doing this, and it's made an impact on our community. So thank you, and all the firefighters and all the folks that are working with you from the schools. And I know Walmart is where you'll be Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Walmart. And man, I was out there last year, and there were people coming out with buggies full. And Chief would say, well, how much of it you want to take? They say, this is for y'all, all of it. So a great job, and we appreciate what you do.
Brian, people can write checks as well, can't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
They don't have to go shop, they can just give money.
Yep. And all of it goes to the Nourish Food Bank. Mayor and Council, I had the privilege to be with a couple of our assistant town managers, Rex and Todd, this past week on Thursday for a luncheon honoring our United Way work for the 2020 year. And Tom Rose is not with us tonight, who's on that committee. Jeff Craig is not with us. I'll go back to Tom just a minute. Tom was actually, I wanted to mention this, his mother had some health issues, and she was in the hospital, and he was going to be with her today and to maybe get to bring her home. So our prayers continue for Tom Rose and his family. But Tom and Jeff and Mike Strange and Crystal and Sierra have been heading up that committee for the last couple of years. And this past year, I'm really proud to tell you that the Smyrna United Way campaign achieved a gold award. We actually jumped from bronze to gold in our level of giving, and that was a great honor. But more importantly, in the overall campaigns run across the county, the Smyrna achieved number 9. We broke into the top 10 last year, and we're actually number 9. And I will tell you, our United Way campaign for this year is going even better than last year. So I'm very proud of the work this staff is doing and the achievements that they're making, being part of this community. Nobody trashes Tennessee in the month of November, according to TDOT. This is something that I'm very passionate about. As you guys know, we get a lot of calls from people about trash in our community, and we all see it as we drive through the community. And I know it's not just Smyrna. It's all across the county. It's across the state. I'm struggling with understanding why people make a personal choice to litter, because it is a personal choice. Please, consider to take your trash to the receptacles at the service stations or at your home or those kind of things, instead of putting them on the side of our roads and waiting for somebody else to pick them up. We've got some great community partners in our Adopt a Road program. We've got a gentleman, I don't even know who he is, that cleans up on Florence Road himself. Seven Oaks, I know, Mayor, you got an email from Seven Oaks. I have been working with those folks now for about 6 or 7 months, trying to deter some trash that's being put out on the back road of Seven Oaks. I know the chief and I, we've got some cameras we're going to be putting out there. We're going to see if we can't catch some of these people. They're out there? Good. And I hope people understand those cameras are out there and we're watching. But folks, it is our community. Love where you live. It's important. Our Christmas tree lighting this year, that'll be Tuesday, November the 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Smyrna Event Center. We didn't get to do this last year other than a virtual lighting, but this year we will be back in person. A little bit of protocol change. We won't be inside. We'll be outside. We still have the music venue. We'll still have pictures with Santa Claus, those kind of things. I think we'll have the pictures with Santa Claus inside, but we'll have a line from outside going in to make those pictures and those type things. But we are excited about this. November the 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Smyrna Event Center, located at 100 Sam Ridley Parkway East. Everybody knows where SOAC is, and everybody knows where we eat lunch. So come out and join us on November the 23rd as we kick off the holiday season with our lighting ceremony, and that'll be the lighting of our Christmas tree, as well as all the ornaments that have been going up around town very quietly. If you start looking around, you'll see those. The last 2 things I wanted to share, I was approached by the public library, Smyrna Public Library. They've got a couple of programs going on that want to make everybody aware of, and we will get these out on social media as well. The Scholastic Book Fair, which starts on November the 30th and will run through December the 7th. The times are on the board there, but 50% off of merchandise during that Scholastic Book Fair at the Smyrna Library. The other one, and this is one I think a couple of the council members need to be aware of, we will have fine-free December. So some of those books that you've been holding on to and they got a little past the deadline and you don't want to take them back, now's the time to do it. And everybody's looking at HG. Because I'm the only one that reads books. The rest of them don't read books.
Where's his little sign? Be kind.
Yeah, where's his
Be
sign?
kind.
Be
kind.
Yeah, we're going to have to get that back.
That's right.
I think he just told on himself, though, right?
That's right. But for the month of December, the Rutherford County Library System, including the Smyrna Library, will be offering fine-free December. So if you have a book that's a little overdue that you found when you moved, or looked under a shelf the other day and there it was, and you forgot to take it back, here's a way to do it and not have to pay any fine. So please take advantage of that. And Mayor, with that said, that's all I've got.
Thanks, Brian. Jeff, anything?
Nothing.
Raquel?
Congratulations to Thurman Francis Arts Academy and Principal McCann for placing where they've placed. That's a great accomplishment. And also thanks to the Smyrna Rotary for the donation for the partnership with the Freedom Park Playground. And congratulations to the staff for the United Way Gold Award. Congratulations on that, and I'm sure this campaign is going to be even better, as you said. And I will just mention I was glad to be able to participate in the run, but I'm sure the mayor's going to talk about that more when it gets around to her. So just glad to be able to get out and to participate in that. And we actually had about 10 people from my family that participated. So,
Great.
All right, that's all I got.
Okay, we are coming up on the holidays. What are you shaking your head about, Steve?
We just never know what's going to come out of your
When you
mouth.
start with okay, we're just not sure what's going to follow.
That's right.
Okay.
I didn't know where it was going.
Well, we're coming up on the season where more funds are spent than any other time of the year. And we talk always about the tax base, which we have, such as that. So everybody, not only buy your gifts local, when you go out to eat local, Rex appreciates that. And we all appreciate that. But now I'm getting down to the meat of the matter, Mary Esther. Okay?
Right.
Thursday's Veterans Day. The freedoms we have can be attributed to those veterans. But there's also another thing that happens on Thursday. That is my mother's birthday. She'll be 50, Rex. We also have another birthday before we reconvene, and that is my grandson. Henry will be 8. He's pride and joy. That's all I've got.
Thanks.
When's his birthday?
22nd.
I don't think we're going to be back together before Thanksgiving, so I wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, safe travels, whether you're going to family or family's coming to you. HG shared with me before the meeting that it's his tradition to dress up in a turkey costume and walk up and down and do an interpretive dance to Giblets and Gravy, I think he said was the name of the song.
Well, we're going off the rails. The more we go down the road, we're going off the rails.
There's certain things you can't take out. Once it's in there, it's there. It's like,
I don't know, Tim.
wow.
Anything else?
That's it.
I hope that gets cut from the issue.
We need to write that to you.
Jerry, any
do you
dessert
follow-
to go with that?
How do you follow that?
Any turkey costume?
No. Several things here. First of all, like was mentioned, just with Veterans Day, so much appreciative of our veterans. My dad was one. He was my favorite. And but we just we appreciate all of our veterans and everything that they've done for us, for me. Rex, happy birthday. As mentioned before, thank you to the Rotary. They always step up. We really appreciate what they do for our community, and just want to thank you for their generous gifts. Congratulations to Thurman Francis. As you guys said, we all went there. I was actually in the first full year that Thurman Francis was open, and your mom was there at that time. So. I don't think we won't be meeting before Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. And I just want to say thank you to those, the committee, the participants, Parks and Rec, for the great time we had Friday night at the Coos run. I was glad I was able to help and show people where the bathroom was, and that was the highlight of my year. And but we just we really appreciated it, had a great time. So that's all I got.
Great. Steve?
I've had to explain that picture of Jerry a couple of times, so. There
I
is
thought it
a,
was very appropriate.
it fits perfect. I'm just sad that we didn't think of it sooner.
Yeah.
We could have been using that like every ribbon cutting and everything, but anyway.
Just had me holding the key.
Setting him next to Andy downtown with the radar.
Andy still got his. I think Jerry's will last a while.
Yeah, the Jeff Coos run, I will be the first to say that I can certify Mayor Esther did not cheat this year. She finished without a golf cart.
I finished without a golf cart the first
I
time,
kept an eye on
too.
her pretty much the whole time because I was on a golf cart. And I kept kind of circling back around and making sure she was still walking. So I also sent her pictures of her time and my time. My time was obviously much better than hers. But anyway, I'll stop calling you cheater now because you
There you
didn't
go.
cheat. So,
There you go.
that's finally, after 2 years, it's going to go away. Also, Thurman and Francis, my daughter went there from, I think, 1st grade to 8th grade. They prepared her very well for high school and college. She learned a lot there. I saw in, I guess it was in the proclamation, top 3 middle school in the state. And that's impressive. And it's right here in Smyrna. So it says a lot about what's going on in the community. So congratulations to Thurman Francis. We obviously, this year is our first year for 3 or 4 years that I'm going to actually be home for Thanksgiving this year. My son is home, so we will be home, which is great. It's kind of been missed a little bit. We'll get to actually enjoy Thanksgiving with my mom and dad and my family like we've done for many years, but haven't done in a while. So be looking forward to the festivities. It's really the first year that I've been able to kind of enjoy what we've always enjoyed for a while. So I'm looking forward to it. So happy Thanksgiving to all of those you that are there, that are here. Veterans Day, Thursday, obviously kind of holds a little bit of a special place in my heart. I come from a long family of military. Every branch has been represented in my family probably multiple times. And now we have a new veteran, my son, who's getting out in March. He'll actually be an official veteran, not active duty, next year. So if you're a veteran, you know what happens on the 11th, and so I'll just say enjoy your meals. Most veterans know where to go to get free meals on those days. Some people, Krispy Kreme gives free donuts, and some places give free breakfast, so that's usually the day that they kind of go from place to place. We eat free all day, which is kind of nice. So that's all. Thanks.
Thank you.
I was talking to somebody today who's looking for employment. There's a lot of people out there that run businesses, especially small businesses, that are having trouble finding people to come to work. So if you're a young person looking for an opportunity in town, there are a lot of places that you can find to go work. I know that one of our fellow councilmen owns a business, and even he's having trouble keeping employment there. So if you're looking for work, contact one of us. We'll tell you who that is. But it's hard to find people that want to work these days. So just want to put a little plug in for people that might be looking for work. The unsung heroes a little bit that we don't often talk about, and not to take anything away from fire, police, and Mike and the Parks and Rec Department for all the things that they do. I was at the run the other night, but because of a couple ailments going on with me, I wasn't able to participate in the actual run. But I did come out, and I did enjoy the festivities. There were a lot of people there excited. But what I noticed is that young lady sitting over there on the front, Kathy and Brett. Brett's in there probably filming this right now. Those guys stay on the move. They are constantly setting up cameras and videos and things like that. So, Kathy, to you and Brett and your team, thank you for all that you do, not just at the run the other night, but you guys stay on top of it, and especially pushing out all the social media messages and things like that. So kudos to your department for doing that. Kathy does a wonderful job. Going back to the veterans, Steve, you mentioned that, and they know where to get their meals. Well, when you sit down for your Thanksgiving meal, you might want to think about that as well, because our veterans are directly responsible for us having the freedom to do those things. And as you, I come from a family that my mom and dad both served. They're no longer with me or with our family any longer, but we'll miss them tremendously, as we always do. But one of the things they were super proud of, and I'm super proud of them as well, is the fact that they served our country, and they're veterans of this part of the United States Air Force. So I love them for that, and I respected everything they did when it came to military service. So for anybody that's a vet out there, thank you. I really appreciate what you've done to serve our country. That's all I have.
Great. A couple of housekeeping items. First of all, I want to thank everybody who was a part of the 6K Top Gun night run. From our sponsors to our participants to the staff to the volunteers to the spectators, it was a great night. We had over 600 people signed up for the run, and the National Guard came out and volunteered and actually presented the medals, which I thought was kind of a cool touch this year. So we're very thankful to them, and it was just a huge success. And I think if you were there, there was definitely a place for the serious runner, but it was also a place for families and people who just wanted to be a part of the community and to show their patriotism. So thanks to everybody involved. Just to remind you, all of the proceeds do go to the upkeep of the memorial, and I think it's something that we're all really proud of. Our Christmas parade food drive will start November the 15th and go through December the 10th, and our goal is 50,000 non-perishable items to benefit the Nourish Food Bank, and the items can be dropped off at the lobby at Town Hall. Nominations are open for the Kenneth Coon Victory Lifetime Service Award and the Young Leader Award, and to learn more about and to nominate a deserving individual, all you have to do is email Marty Smith or visit our town website. We could not do what we do in the town of Smyrna without the volunteers that we have. A couple of things, thanks to Brian and to Leland and Kyle and Mark and Mike for the tour of the wastewater treatment plant. It was really interesting, and I think it is our largest project that the town has ever done. And it's one of those things, when you think about growth and all that, a lot of times people don't think about that as being part of our infrastructure that has to be taken care of. So thanks to you guys for all that you do there. Talked about that. Looking forward to celebrating and honoring our veterans on Thursday. So hopefully you all can come out and be a part of our celebration at the memorial or at the event center, depending on the weather. And also Thanksgiving. I want to say how thankful I am to each one of you sitting up here and how much I appreciate each one of you. I enjoy serving with you, and I'm thankful that I'm a part of this team. To Brian and staff and to the employees, I am thankful to each one of you. The town of Smyrna would not be what it is today without you and what you do day in and day out. And to the citizens of the town of Smyrna, thank you, and I'm thankful to be a part of this community. There is nowhere else I'd rather lay my head every night than in the town of Smyrna. And I am proud to be a part of one of you, and I hope that you are proud of us in the voice that we have in speaking for you. And I just want to say how much I appreciate you and how much I am thankful for you and for this community. So if there is nothing else, then we are adjourned.